Welcome back, my favorite stylistas. This is Zara again for another episode of Style Drops. Today I want to talk about how trends are created. Have you ever wondered why suddenly everyone is selecting a similar shade of sage green? Or why that specific terracotta color showed up in every home decor store at exactly the same time? It's not a coincidence, and it's not organic cultural evolution. It's because somewhere, 18 to 24 months earlier, a trend forecasting agency decided it was going to happen. Welcome to the behind-the-scenes machinery of how your desires are manufactured, packaged, and sold to you as inspiration. Trend forecasting publications like Trend Bible operate on a fascinating principle. They don't just predict the future, they create it. These agencies go beyond aesthetics to connect storytelling to color, material, and finish, CMF forecasting and consumer products, essentially writing the script that manufacturers, designers, and retailers will follow for the next 2 years. These forecasting agencies publish reports 18 to 24 months in advance, complete with Pantone-referenced color palettes, material insights, prints, and design ideas. Major manufacturers subscribe to these services, then design their products based on these predictions. By the time consumers see these trends in stores, they feel fresh and exciting because they're coordinated across multiple brands simultaneously. It's not that the trend publications are psychic about what you'll want in 2027. It's that they're telling manufacturers what to make, and manufacturers are listening. The prophecy fulfills itself. Individual trend books can cost upwards of a couple of thousand, with annual subscriptions running significantly higher. These aren't impulse purchases for curious consumers. They're strategic investments for major corporations, who can't afford to be wrong about what to manufacture. Think about who's buying this information: Whirlpool, Valspar, Mattel, and other massive manufacturers. These companies use trend forecasting to develop products they know will be successful, and to reassure internal teams that trends are commercially viable in the market. When you're manufacturing millions of units, you need confidence that your color choices and material selections will resonate with consumers when they hit shelves 2 years later. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle. Trend forecasters observe cultural signals and synthesize them into trend narratives. Major manufacturers all subscribe to the same forecasting services and create products based on those narratives. Those products then flood the market simultaneously, making the trend appear organic and inevitable, rather than coordinated and manufactured. Walk into any home goods store right now, and you'll see the same color palettes, the same material combinations, and the same design aesthetics across competing brands. This isn't because great minds think alike. It's because they're all working from the same trend forecasts. Trend forecasting is both generative and reactive. Forecasts react to shifts in taste and the zeitgeist, but they also generate design stories that are compatible with a range of fashion and design processes. The agencies are simultaneously observing culture and shaping it, creating a feedback loop where it becomes impossible to distinguish between authentic cultural movements and manufactured trends. The consumer experiences this as inspiration and choice, when in reality, the options have been carefully curated and coordinated years in advance by people you've never heard of, working for companies you don't know exist. How do trend forecasting agencies decide what's coming next? They dig past the what of a trend to understand the underlying motives and beliefs that constitute the why. This means constant cultural surveillance, monitoring social media, street style, global events, technological shifts, and societal mood changes. Forecasters travel to design exhibitions and cultural events worldwide. They observe music, technology, and social movements. They track what's happening in art, film, and youth subcultures. All of this raw cultural data gets processed, synthesized, and distilled into trend narratives, with names, color palettes, and material specifications. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Once these observations become forecasts that manufacturers follow, the authenticity of the original cultural signal gets commodified and mass-produced. That genuine street-style moment or grassroots design movement becomes a manufactured product, sold back to consumers as trend-forward design. Trend cycles used to take years, but if or when something goes viral on social media, will accelerate the trend markets to months. The difficult part of trend forecasting is the fact that turnaround times are arriving in shorter and shorter cycles, with micro-trends now appearing and disappearing in weeks, leaving consumers confused. When the reality is, just because the socials attach the word core to the end of a specific style vibe, doesn't make it a thing. Interior design trends, which require significantly more investment and commitment from consumers, still operate on an 18 to 24-month forecast cycle. This creates tension between what consumers see as current look and feel to what's actually available in stores. Here's where it gets really problematic. Trend forecasting directly contradicts sustainability. If your goal is to create timeless, durable spaces that last for decades, you're working against an industry that profits from making your choices feel outdated every few years. The forecasting field must evolve to support more sustainable business models in light of growing environmental concerns. But there's a fundamental conflict of interest here. Trend forecasting agencies make money by creating change, not by encouraging people to be satisfied with what they have. The industry is trying to have it both ways, promoting sustainable trends and eco-conscious color palettes, while simultaneously operating a business model built on planned aesthetic obsolescence and consumerism. The most important thing you can do in interior design right now is to make choices based on what genuinely serves your life, rather than what forecasters have decided should be trending. Choose colors because they make you happy, not because they're on trend. Select materials for their durability and functionality, not their momentary cultural relevance. Professional designers exist in an uncomfortable position within this system. On one hand, they need to be aware of trend forecasts because their clients expect them to know what's current. On the other hand, the best designers create spaces that transcend trends by focusing on timeless principles and authentic personal expression. The 10-year gap between when designers first see trends in high-end applications and when they become mainstream means professional designers are always working ahead of the forecast cycle. By the time trend publications publish a forecast, cutting-edge designers are already moving on. We're entering an era where artificial intelligence is increasingly involved in trend prediction, analyzing vast amounts of data to identify emerging patterns faster than human forecasters ever could. Or social influencers can create a narrative, which could perpetuate the trend cycles even more, creating trends that feel increasingly synthetic, and for production aspects only, disconnected from the authentic cultural movements, such as the design disruptors, or those who are style sovereign. The question is whether consumers will continue playing along with this manufactured system, or whether we'll see a backlash toward more authentic, individualized design choices that help curate whether the current trend direction is a choice for you. Next time you walk into a store and feel drawn to that specific shade of green, or that particular texture combination, ask yourself, am I genuinely drawn to this look? Trend forecasting works because it's sophisticated enough to tap into real cultural currents and emerging preferences. But it's also manipulative in how it creates artificial direction on the right, aesthetic choices. Your home should be your style sanctuary, your own authentic expression, and your functional living space, not a showroom for whatever trend directories have decided would be popular at the creation of the vision. The sooner we recognize how the trend machine operates, the sooner we can make genuinely informed choices about whether to participate in it or chart our own course entirely. Until next time, stylistas, and please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.